Have you ever wanted to beat a boss in Elden Rings while only using a shield? Or have you ever wanted to take out a boss without even hitting it once, just standing beside it, just absolutely destroying it down? Or have you ever wanted to take out a large group of enemies without ever having to hit a single one of them, by just standing next to them, just making them all slowly die? Well, if any of those sound interesting to you, this is going to be our video on probably making one of the most broken and OP builds in Elden Rings. And it just requires 3 items to make this build work. Item 1, Fiery Deadly Sin. Item 2, Erdtree Great Shield. And item 3, Ash of War Seppuku. First item, make your way up to the top portion right here on the map. It is just above the capital. You'll find the windmill area. You'll know you're in the right place because there's a lot of dancing NPCs. Travel through the village. There's a boss fight at the top. Beat the boss fight. And then, of course, follow our pathing from here. Skipping over the boss fight. It's a pretty minor boss. Nothing too ridiculous. You shouldn't really have much issues with it. Once you follow our pathing, you should find this little ghostly man sitting in a chair. And that will, of course, give you the incantation that you need, which is the Fiery Deadly Sin. Super needed. On to step 2. You need to make your way right to this point of the map, the outer wall, again, right at the capital. Once you spawn in, pop a 180, turn around, and you, of course, will see your big giant doors. Make your way through there, and it's time for a double boss fight. Now, if you do this segment of the video nicely, you'll be able to take on each boss one at a time, of course, near like we're doing. We're using the Sword of Night and Flame. It's super overpowered. As you can see, we are absolutely just tanking through these bosses. I have a video on how to get this sword, so check it out. Anyway, you have to beat both of the bosses to get this next piece, which is right here, which is the Erdtree Great Shield. That's part 2. For part 3, you want to make your way up to the very top right portion of the map right here to the frozen lake. Once you do that, follow the path. And don't worry, we left the easiest one for last. That second one is probably going to be a little doozy for some people. But again, you can take out each boss one at a time if you do it nicely. So once you get over here, you'll find one of those invisible beetles making its way around. Time it nicely, don't bother chasing it, and just smack it as it comes past you. And boom, you now have the Ash of War Seppuku. So you need to obviously put that on a sword. So once you have all those, we're pretty much good to go. So how does it work? Cast a fire spell on yourself that will put a burn, and now your shield that you just got has been activated. You can only use the shield special ability when there's a magic effect on you. So now you can go ahead and cast the shield special ability, which is a retaliation, golden retaliation, I think is what it's called. And it basically allows you to spam holy damage for quite a decent amount of damage. The more points you have in faith, the more damage this shield will do. In this video, we're only doing about 1,000 or so, but we got up to about 3,000. Now, how to do the AoE thingy. Go ahead, set yourself on fire, and with Seppuku, stab yourself. Now, your fire attack is also doing bleed damage at the same time. So the shield is not necessary for this build. So now if I'm just standing beside an enemy, they will get burnt and blood loss all at the same time. It is actually crazily OP and powerful. So the shield isn't necessary for this build, but the shield pairs really well for covering your range.